Guys, it's Milmer here, and today I'll be showing you I'll be showing you a speed up of me creating an info page in my app. So you can see here I'm just creating a new info view and importing it into my main view controller here, like so. And you can see down the bottom here I've logged the button so to check it works. So you can see here I'm just setting up my info view and pushing it on the screen. Now I have changed it slightly. I have instead auto-released it instead of releasing it because that's a better way of doing it, but I forgot to do that, but I have changed it since. Here I'm just adding a little label here to let me know it's the info view. So you can see it works. I'm checking and it worked. Now that's a good thing to do, guys. Every single time you add something, always check it. So every time you add a new line of code, run, see if it works. If it works, then you can carry on. If it doesn't, then you're going to have to go back and debug it. It's a great way because if you build it all and then suddenly stop, then you won't know if what caused the error. So if you do it straight away, then it's a great way of debugging. So here I'm just adding images for my buttons that I'll be creating. Down there I've added an action that will show a website, and the other action is, well, the other void is actually creating a new button on the screen. You can see here I've got a couple of parameters. That's the images, highlighted normal images, positions X and Y, and I will eventually add a tag method to it, a tag parameter there, but I forgot to do that. But I'll go back to it in a minute. Here I'm just releasing all the images I made, because that's always good. I have changed that slightly though, but that doesn't really matter for now. Here I just set the background color, and again I go and check that, see if there's any errors, and there's no errors. It puts the background image in, and I delete that, and now I decide to not set this up, although I begin to, but then I get rid of it. And here I'm setting the title, which I grabbed some code from my last view, and you can see I'm just checking that there, and then check it. You can see the title set with a nice font called About. If you want to know how to do that, just ask me. I'll do a tutorial on it. Here I'm actually going to set up my first button, but this is going to be the back button on the view, so it's going to be the back button that will pop the view controller, because at the moment, if you just saw that, the back button looks a bit bland. It's normal color and it doesn't really look very good. So here I'm setting up the button. I set its images to the normal images, set it selected to back, and put the UI bar button item in here. And I do have a mistake here. I forgot to set the frame of the button, so it won't actually exist. So you'll see in a minute it will just crash when I run. But again, this is why I build every time, because I find out what crashes. So you can see that crash there. I forgot to set the bounds of the button itself, so I set the bounds to be the size of the image that it's set to, and you can see here the back button appears. I forgot to add the back action in though, so I'm doing that now, and hopefully it won't crash, which I know it doesn't. So you can see here, and it doesn't crash. So yeah, that's that. And now I set up my new button void method. So I'm going to create a new button that's going to be a custom button, and then I set the frame to equal the position X and the position Y set in the parameters, and the size of it is going to be the size of the image set in the parameter as well. And then I'm going to set its images, highlighted and normal image, to equal the images set in the parameters. The selector is always going to be show site, because that's that. I forget to add the tag here, as you can see. I go back, add the tag, which is just simply an integer, and I've already put that in the method. Then I add it to the view, and now I go test that out by using that method to add a button here, like setup buttons. Now the tag is going to be used to see which button is being pressed, because obviously I'm using the same method, so I need to know which button was being pressed by that method. So here I use that method there, self new button, and set the images and parameters. So you can see there's a nice button set up there. I do get an error though, because I forgot to set up the void. So here I set up the void, and it's going to change depending on the tag, as I said, which is going to depend on the button that's being pressed. So if the tag's 0, then I launch my Twitter. If the tag is 1, then I launch my code, or the designer's Twitter, which I forget his name, so I'll go over to my little sheet there, put his name in, and you can see here I then run, and as you can see it takes me to my Twitter. And now I'm going to set up the other buttons. So again, I go check out the name. Now I do have a little text edit sheet next to me, set up by the designer, that is telling me the sizes of the images. So that's what I know which positions are going to be on the screen in those A to X, in the X and Y, because he's told me. So you can see here it leads me to his Twitter. I'm checking all the other buttons, they all work. And now I add the final button here, which is the visit site button. So I'll set up the images again, then I use my new button method there, pass in the parameters, set the coordinates, set the tag, and as you can see I check again, it takes me to the website. I accidentally open up Spotify there, which I was listening to at the time, and as you can see I check all of that, and there you go, that's the app. Check everything works. So remember guys, always build and run every time you make a new image, add a new line of code to check it works. So it's a great way of debugging. I thought this might have been a good commentary kind of video, if you like, for me to show you how I kind of do stuff. Again, you can see I'm setting up everything via code. I haven't done any interface builder, so if you want to know how to do that, how to make a new button or whatever, just ask. I'll happily put a video out on it for you. So thanks for watching, and see you in my next tutorial.